Welcome to New Life Live, the premier place to receive free advice from Christian psychologists and counselors for the mental, emotional, relational, and spiritual challenges you face. Since 1988, we've offered compassionate responses that combine God's truth with proven psychological principles to guide you toward healing. Our phone lines are open. Call us now at 1-800-229-3000.
Welcome to another brand new episode of New Life Live. We so believe in new that we never even air reruns on the radio. And we believe in you. That's why we're here. I'm Brian Perez, joined by clinical psychologist Dr. Alice Benton and licensed marriage and family therapist Dr. Jacqui Mack-Harris. Let's begin by getting into Jackie's brain. What you got for us today, Dr. Jacqui?
Today, I want to talk about the Thomas theorem. It's this idea that if people define a situation as real, the situation is real in its consequences. So, for example, say someone heard on the news that because of the economy, banks were going to run out of money. They're not, so don't hear this as that they are. But just say someone said that. And people began to believe it. And so out of fear, they're going to run to the bank and take their money out of the bank. Well, the bank doesn't usually have that much money on hand. So it now has become a self-fulfilling prophecy. So this idea that they believed was real, since they believed it was real, they acted on it and therefore made it real. Sometimes this happens with emotions. You believe something has happened. I've worked with someone who received a voicemail from their partner and instantly believed that the partner meant to send that to someone else that they were seeing on the side. So for hours between the time they read this and the time that they spoke with their partner, they believed their partner was having an affair. And so they went through all of the emotions, all of the, packing the person's stuff up, trying to think of where they're going to live. Am I going to move out or am I going to make them move out? And it wasn't true. The partner was actually being thoughtful that morning. And that's why they sent that message. But because the other partner believed something else, that became real in its consequences. So they began to be fighting as though he had an affair. And so I think it's really important for callers to understand that this exists, because so often we get into conflict because something's real to us. And sometimes we make something that's not so great real in its consequences. So the belief that I'm never going to lose weight. So that becomes real in your consequences because maybe you don't go work out, or you eat the same things, or you're not listening to your nutritionist, or whatever it is. Things we say to our children, telling a child that they are an overachiever, that they're the best person on the team, may actually turn out with them being really good at something. But also sometimes people call their kids lazy or a bum, and then they're confused as to why they lay around and do nothing. Well, this is the reality that you've told them this is who they are. They've believed it. And so we need to change our thought process, because what we think becomes our belief system, and what we believe determines how we behave, and how we behave has consequences. And often we're thinking something is real that isn't. And often we think that something that is real for us is real for everyone else. My husband grew up being told a particular thing about what men want out of their future wives. And he said, everyone learned this growing up. And I said, no, I learned quite the opposite. He's like, no, you didn't. They taught us this. But he grew up in a church community. I didn't. And I think Christians forget that, we're over here in this dome. Out there, those people haven't heard these things that we are trying to hold them accountable for, which is why Scripture tells us to hold each other accountable. We can judge within, but we can't judge them because they haven't heard those things. So we need to be clear on what's real for us will have consequences, and to not have self-fulfilling prophecies of the negative things and get stuck in negative emotion.
All right, good words from Dr. Jacqui Mack-Harris to start off today's episode of New Life Live, and we've got some phone calls that we're going to get to in just a moment. Thank you so much for listening and watching New Life Live. I'm Brian Perez here with Drs. Jacqui Mack-Harris and Alice Benton. We will be right back.
Hello, everybody. It's Becky Brown, and I'm coming to you with an urgent need. If you've heard the callers on the show recently, you've heard the struggles that so many people are experiencing. There are many people that are in difficult relationships, difficult places in their lives. I want you to help New Life continue to offer hope for people's lives. We had some generous friends of New Life that started a matching gift, and every gift will be doubled up to $475,000. But it's urgent. The matching window closes December 31st, so don't wait. Every moment matters in recovery, healing, and restoration. Make your gift today by going to newlife.com, click on Donate, or text the word MATCH to 28950. You can also call us, 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Together, we will bring hope and help to so many more people. And I want to say thank you in advance.
To find out more information about New Life or to order any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Now back to New Life Live.
Here is Robin listening to us on WBYN in Philadelphia. Hey, Robin, how can we help you today on New Life Live? Did I hang up on Robin? Robin's gone. Did I do that? I don't know. Okay, so let's go to Catherine. Hopefully Robin will call back. Catherine in Daytona Beach, Florida. How are you today?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing well. Thanks for calling in.
Yes. So I was listening yesterday, and I just heard you guys talking about family issues, and I've been having a huge issue because, you know, my past is my past, but it's still, you know, people know about my past. However, they don't know really what I've gone through, and it's keeping my kids away from me when they really are only, you know, hearing what they hear from people that don't know. And there's no, you know, how do I get to them, you know, start talking to them without them feeling like, you know, I'm pushing or, you know, trying to hurt them, because let's face it, like, I did hurt them. I did.
Are your kids adults now?
They are teenagers. So 2 of them are teenagers, and then I have children as well, ranging from 8 to 6. So, I mean, I have 5 children, but the 2 that I'm most worried about right now are my teenagers.
And you don't have custody of them because of things that happened in your past, but they've not gotten the story from you. They're only getting it from these people who have maybe some peripheral knowledge of what your past is like.
Right. And also they're, you know, part of the bad things that were happening to me too.
Okay.
Oh.
So they were there witnessing some things?
Maybe even perpetrating?
They were actually perpetrating,
yes. And now they're in charge of your children, have custody of your children.
Right. Absolutely, yep.
Are you worried about your children's safety?
I'm worried about their outlook on life, because whether or not, you know, whatever has happened, it doesn't matter. Right now what matters is, you know, I'm a Christian. I believe in God. I believe that my faith is it's not complicated. It's always been there. And I believe that he's leading them the wrong way.
Mm. Is it a family member that now has custody of your children?
So no, it is not a family member. It's actually their dad. But he's actually a part of, you know, he's a part of the town, without, you know, sharing too much information. You know,
there's a power dynamic here.
Yeah, absolutely.
And how can we help you with this? This sounds scary and complicated, and you just want good relationship with your kids.
Yeah, that's really what I want. I don't want to hurt anybody else. You know, I don't want anybody hurt anymore. So the bottom line is, how do I, you know, put aside what's been done to me and get it to them so they know that I've always just wanted good for them.
Are you in treatment right now?
I'm not.
I think it would be
I
helpful.
I definitely need some. Yeah,
I think it would be helpful for you to be working with a counselor and they can help you come up with a way to make some connections and maybe even work with dad to have a family session with you and the kids. But I would start with therapy. I would start with therapy for you,
Right.
and for you to be able to focus on you for a little while so that you can get to a place where you feel comfortable and confident in who you are and where you are and how you're walking. And so that there's not so much anxiety around this relationship. But I think a good counselor can help you do that.
Yeah, I totally agree. So thank you. You basically answered my question, because I was going to say, what's the first step? So I guess that's my answer.
Catherine, with that therapist's help, you'll be able to pick out statements that are age appropriate and include taking responsibility for your part without throwing their dad under the bus. And there may be hard things you have to tell them about him eventually, but that shouldn't be the start unless you are afraid for your safety, which you said you're not. So letting them know, I made poor choices, or I didn't connect with you enough. I have been out of your life for too long. Even if it's partially someone else's fault, only taking responsibility for your part in it makes you a safer, more trustworthy person to them.
Yeah. And let me just reiterate, I've been in some pretty horrible, situations that their dad was a, prime factor in.
Mm-hmm.
And, like I said, there is that power, that power struggle going on, because, for where I am, it's mostly having to do with what, their dad has done. However, I know they love their dad.
You're living out the consequences of those situations right now.
Yeah,
it sounds like that's really hard.
So
I don't know whether I should go to somebody, that has the same power as them, but I don't know if that is going to make it worse.
Yeah, I would say start with therapy, and that way you can talk through your whys and the best ways to do this. Things you can say, you can think about and talk about the consequences of the different choices. And so I would take a step back and find someone to meet with and start to take this process a little more slowly.
And it may be more along the lines of, I didn't know how to speak up. I didn't know how to get help. And I'm learning now. And now I have a therapist. Now I have a team around me, because being cautious to not undermine or sabotage their dad will be important. But the therapist will at the same time help evaluate the safety of the kids and whether or not that power differential is needs to be investigated or evaluated for the sake of the safety of the home.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Well, thank you. I needed that.
You're so welcome. You're so welcome.
So I so appreciate it.
All right, Catherine, thanks for calling in today. Stay on hold. We want to send you something from the newlife.com store.
I think the book Trust could be helpful.
Okay.
Because I think that there is some trust rebuilding that needs to happen between all of them.
Yeah, good point. All right, Catherine, God bless you and your family. Let's talk to Rose, who is in Martin, Illinois, and then Ron. Don't hang up. We'll go to you after that. So, Rose, hi, welcome. Thanks for watching us on YouTube. How can we help you today on New Life Live?
Yes. Hi. I recently got divorced, but I'm still currently in a relationship with my ex-in-laws because I do truly care about them, and I care about my ex also. But I recently found out that he's doing a transgender, and they're wanting me to get involved with that, and wondering why he's doing this, and partially putting the blame on me. And I care about him, and I care about them. And 3 years ago, I became a Christian, and so my life, I want to live my life to glorify God. And his parents are unbelievers also. And so my prayer is every day is that God will bring somebody in their lives to save them. And I just don't know what my role should be in this. And I care about them so much, and I care about him. But I feel like I'm falling apart on my own life, and I don't know what's right and what's wrong. And I just, I recently moved out of state to get away from them. And so I don't know what to do. I don't know what's right. I want to live my life to glorify God, and I feel like my heart still belongs to them in some ways. They still consider me their daughter. So I guess I'd like to ask your advice. How do I do this? How do I manage all this?
I think you manage it by letting it pass by. You have these people in your heart. You have a relationship with them. I've said many times, in our family, we have a no return policy. So those parents, those in-laws that you've done life with for however long you've been married are still part of your life. And they're fearful and confused and going through. I would try to mirror, validate, and empathize when I'm in conversations with them, so that they understand that I hear what they're saying and I understand their concern, and I can validate it even if I don't agree with it. And I also would not allow them to project blame for this onto me. I would ask questions about how do we see that this is my doing? That seems very much like a parental projection, and I can see how it could be placed on the wife, right? But you can't allow what is going on in their lives to become what is going on in your life. You're a side character in their story. So you hear it, you're there, you talk, and you let it move on through you. You feel sad, or you feel disappointed, or you feel a bit of fear. You let it pass on through. You do not get stuck there trying to figure out how to manage it. You don't have to manage it. You've moved away for good reason, and that's giving you some distance, but you didn't disconnect, and so the relationship still exists. You get to decide how you want to navigate that, and I would navigate that with grace, but also definitely some clear boundaries.
Yeah, Alice.
Okay.
Rose, it surprised me so much early in my Christianity to find out that God doesn't need us to be yes men. And just because people want us to do something, a good Christian doesn't have to do it all. And God has very specific paths for us that he wants us to walk. And we're not the savior for everyone. He is, not us. It's too big of a job for us. And so to find out that I can be a loving Christian and say no, and say, I can't talk about that, and even be able to say, I need a break from conversation with you, and that can be loving, Rose, I couldn't believe it. But it freed me to learn that God is more interested in our heart posture. And so if people are asking us to do something, and we realize my heart is not in it, and in fact my life is falling apart as I'm drawn into this situation, those are pretty strong signs that I'm being over-involved in something that is not for me at this time in my life. And so figuring out how much to draw back, in addition to having to move out of state, is what will better protect your life from falling apart. And so you might practice with safe people, saying things like, I'm not able to hear you blaming me. And even, I'm going to need to take a break for a week, or however much time you decide. I'd be open to conversation afterwards, but for now, I'm doing some of my own mental health work. And so I need to pull this focus in on myself. And Rose, for go ahead.
I was just going to say, I did mention to them that I still do truly care about their son, but for my own healing, I really didn't want to talk to them about that, but that I was willing to talk to them just about anything and everything else, but I told them, I tried to do everything for our marriage and to keep our marriage, but he did not want that, and I just needed to separate myself from that completely, but I didn't want to, I just didn't want to do any harm to them or myself, and I didn't know how to handle it.
Rose, you've already given them a very clear explanation of where you stand. And so now the tough part of boundaries is maintaining them. And so as they probably continually bring up this topic, you might say, I notice you're talking about your son and what he's going through. I'm not able to talk about that. If they continue, I am going to have to end our conversation. Be glad to talk with you another time. And that's the real meat of boundaries and the very difficult part, because it feels like we're disappointing or upsetting these people that you dearly love.
Rose, when that feeling comes up for you that you feel like you're disappointing them or doing something wrong by holding that boundary, that's the thing that I was talking about, letting go. When that comes up, it's the thing that usually stops the pleaser from their no. Yep. because they feel this bad feeling, and so they think they're bad, but you're not. You are holding boundary, which is the most loving thing you could do.
And please get comfort for the fact that your ex-husband is becoming a woman, is transitioning, but that must have done a great shock to you and hurt that this is taking place.
Yeah. And the fact that his parents told her that it's partially her fault. I mean, how do you live with that kind of thing?
I think that is a projection. The parents are confused themselves and trying to figure out, how could this happen?
Yeah.
He had a wife.
Yeah.
How could this happen? And so I agree, Alice, her getting into some therapy and doing some grief work herself, I think is a necessity.
Yep, for sure.
Take your life back.
Yeah. Rose, we're going to send you a copy of Take Your Life Back from the newlife.com store. Thank you for calling in. And if everybody listening and watching can keep Rose in your prayers. Ron, you're coming up next here on New Life Live.
My husband addicted to pornography for the majority of our marriage. I was very isolated and didn't really know which way to turn.
If you've been affected by betrayal, an emotional or physical affair, or pornography, the Restore Intensive will equip you with support and tools to help you through.
I went to the Restore conference, which seemed to be the missing puzzle piece where I was able to find my voice.
When two people want to do their part, we can be restored. But if they don't, we are not stuck because someone else made a decision. God lets us weigh in on how we want to walk out our life.
The Restore Intensive is coming to Dallas, Texas, March 6th to the 8th. Register online at newlife.com or call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Enter the code NLL for a discount.
I'm navigating my world now. It feels so wonderful.
I've had a great experience at Restore.
1-800-NEW-LIFE and the discount code NLL. For over 35 years, New Life has been the most trusted name in Christian counseling.
Your ministry has saved my life.
If you struggle with emotional hurt, family or marriage problems, the pit of depression, or the pain of addiction, we can help.
I'm down 100 pounds now from what I was.
I found a counselor through New Life Ministries, and it's just been outstanding.
Our treatment programs provide clinically appropriate solutions from licensed professionals, all in a biblical framework.
I have had problems with alcohol. I think God has ordained this place to be His.
You don't have to be a prisoner of your pain. Help is available at 1-800-NEW-LIFE.
She tells me that I'm a new man, and I feel like a new man.
It worked for me, and it can work for them too.
This time it is different.
If you're ready to take the first steps toward genuine spiritual and emotional healing, call us today at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. God can open the door for a better tomorrow.
To get someone that's competent, that's good at what they do, it's been like day and night compared to what I've had before.
Call 1-800-639-5433. To find out more information about New Life or to order any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Now back to New Life Live.
When you give to New Life, you're helping us reach hurting people with biblical help through newlife.com, radio broadcasts, webinars, counseling, intensives, and online resources. Your gift makes it possible for people to receive the help they need when they need it most. And right now, because of a matching gift challenge, your giving has double the impact. You can give online at newlife.com/match or by calling 1-800-NEW-LIFE, or you can text the word match to 28950. Every gift you give to New Life Ministries helps someone take the next step toward freedom and restoration. Your generosity truly changes lives. Let's talk to Ron, who called in from Raleigh, North Carolina, listening on Sirius XM channel 131. Hey, Ron, welcome to New Life Live.
Hi.
Hello. How can we help you?
Yes, I'm calling in because during the holidays I suffer from acute depression. And I am a born-again Christian, which seems to be an oxymoron. And
not at all. You can be depressed and love Jesus.
Thank you. I am the seventh child in a family of 7. My parents had me late in life. So my mom called me her Joseph because she had me during menopause. And I never really had a close relationship to my elder siblings, and they treated me like an outsider. And
You really have lived like Joseph.
yes, I have. And she and I and my dad were really close. I did have a Reuben who was very protective, but she died from metastasized breast cancer. And now that she's gone and my parents are gone, during the holidays, I really don't have any family to observe the holidays with. And my mom died in 2012, and the very Christmas that she passed, I was told that they just wanted to be intimate with their immediate family, and I had nowhere to go. And it's been that way ever since. And each holiday, I dread it.
Yeah.
So,
Of course you do. That sounds so
today,
hard.
I just felt really displaced and isolated and ostracized. I can't really go around them because they deliberately discuss politics. I'm a Republican, a conservative Republican, so that causes a trigger for them because they don't understand why I'm different in that aspect. And so everything that I do becomes an argument. And
Ron, do you have a church community and friends in your area?
I do, but it's kind of hard to discuss things because it's so far-fetched that nobody really believes that looking from the outside in that it can be really true.
So when you share what's going on, people tell you that couldn't be true?
Yes.
Okay.
Because
they can't imagine that.
Yes, they see the mirrored or the reflection of perfection.
Mm-hmm.
Because my family has this image that we're really close-knit, but from the inner workings, that's not the way it is.
Do you have a close friend that sees you, gets you, understands you?
Yes.
Do you ever do holidays with that person?
They have their own family, and I'm kind of like the fifth wheel. So I feel like if I am invited, it's obligatory.
Okay.
Are you worried about being a burden to people, and so you'd choose to be alone rather than disrupt their setup?
Yes.
Oh, that brings tears to you. What are you feeling right now? I think you have felt like a burden. Yep, a lot of your life.
Yeah, just a burden.
Ron, this is such a heart wound you have, and I think your older siblings have treated you like an outsider and a burden going all the way back. And it sounds like your parents and your Reuben sister was loving to you, but there was a lot of coldness from the siblings, and they hold quite a bit of power to impact your head and your heart. We're coming to a break, Ron, but we can help you with this. We can strategize what to do.
Yeah, Ron, quick question. What's the age difference between you as the youngest and the next youngest, the sixth in line?
There's a 6 year difference.
Okay.
And then the oldest, there's a 22-year difference.
Okay. All right, Ron, stay on hold. We've got to take a break here on New Life Live. Thank you so much for calling in, and we're sending you a hug through the radio, through the satellite radio that you're listening to right now, and everyone listening and watching is going to keep you in their prayers. But Ron, stay on hold. Don't hang up. This is New Life Live.
We've been married 33 years. We attended the Intimacy and Marriage Workshop. Even though we've read books or attended a few other marriage weekends, this was certainly different and a lot more intensive than initially that we thought.
When you come to Intimacy and Marriage, you're going to be immersed into a 3-day process.
Was not really sure exactly what to expect, but the idea of learning to really understand intimacy was intriguing. We had been in the same patterns of struggle over and over again.
If you've thought, I don't think we can ever change, we're just in this rut and we can't get out, the Intimacy and Marriage Workshop can help you get out of the rut.
The Intimacy and Marriage Weekend is February 13th to the 15th in Orange County, California. Register online at newlife.com or call 1-800-NEW-LIFE and use the code NLL for a discount. 1-800-639-5433.
I would highly recommend it.
I was sort of vaguely familiar that the 12 steps had some origination in the Bible. I found Life Recovery, and one of the things I liked so much was that it had such a broad appeal. It wasn't limited to just alcohol or drugs, that it was addressing a wide range of problems.
At New Life, we believe everyone can benefit from a life recovery experience. There are life recovery groups all over the country. They take place online, in conference calls, and in person. And if there isn't one in your area, we can help you start one. We have startup materials, leaders' guides, CDs, Bibles, and more, all with discounts available for groups. Call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE and ask for Terry Ward. The 12 Steps have long been a great help to people in recovery because much of the 12 Steps' power comes from the fact that they capture principles clearly revealed in the Bible.
The 12 steps is really a pattern for all of us as Christians.
Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433. To find out more information about New Life or to order any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Now back to New Life Live.
We're speaking with Ron in Raleigh, North Carolina. You still with us, Ron?
Yes.
Yeah, thank you for calling in. We can tell, we know it took a lot for you to call in today and just pour out your heart to us, and we appreciate you trusting us with this phone call. What did you guys want to add to Ron?
Ron, I want to share with you the idea of being a holy burden. And by that I mean the Bible talks about that we all are to carry our own responsibility, but we're to help shoulder each other's burdens. And it actually is part of God's plan that we would be willing to take people on and take people in, even if it is a slight stretch. But those of us who might be more pleasers or avoiders, which I certainly am, we don't want to be a burden to anybody. It might even make our skin crawl and think, no, I wouldn't do that to anybody. Actually, letting your friend or other church members minister to you by opening up their homes to you would be a blessing to them. You're a sweet, sweet person. Mm-hmm. And I think you're a helper. So I don't think you'd come in and just kick back and be a load. I think you would probably bring joy. I think you'd bring a helping hand. And I think there are some people that would like a fuller home for the holidays. But it takes us getting over that belief that being a burden is unpleasant and bad, and it's not something I should do to anybody. Because I think your family somehow gave you that message. But I want to flip that on its head and ask you to consider letting people help you and love on you that would be a part of a spiritual family. Your biological family may not be that good at doing it. And when you called in to say, it's an oxymoron that you're depressed and you're a believer, you make me think of the times that Jesus wept and was agonized, the times that the prophets were suicidal because it was so hard to believe that God was really with them and for them when they were physically all alone. It is part and parcel of our walk as Christians to suffer and to feel like we're not getting a lot of love from God right now because life feels like that sometimes. It does not mean you're not a true believer to struggle.
Jacqui.
And depression is something happening in your body, and to associate it with Christianity isn't helpful to healing that part of the body. And so keep that in mind, because if you had a problem with something going on in your stomach, you wouldn't balk at that. It wouldn't affect your Christianity. And so think of depression as something going on with your brain. It's another organ. The obligation piece is sticking with me. There are obligations that I have that I am proud of. Like I'm obligated to make sure my children stay safe. I'm going to do that regardless. You know, there are times I tell my husband, thank you for something. Like we go out to dinner and I'm like, thank you. He's like, you don't need to thank me for buying dinner. Like that's just a typical obligation of the marriage. And so obligation does not equal wrong or bad. And I wonder how much the stories you tell yourself negatively impact your well-being. Because whatever you believe feels real, and the consequences of it are real. If you believe you have no one and you're always going to be all alone, that you are living that out and feeling it and experiencing it. But the opposite can be true too. Self-fulfilling prophecies work both ways. And so you can decide that I'm going to have a wonderful Christmas and I'm going to spend time with people who I enjoy, or I'm going to go volunteer, or I'm going to travel to some place and create my own new Christmas tradition. Whatever it is you decide to do, you can decide to have a great holiday, and then you'll start moving towards doing that. You'll have to start taking the steps to have that kind of holiday, which then changes what we're thinking about, because now we're thinking about making those plans rather than about how painful it is to have grown up in this family in which it feels very much like the siblings didn't want you there. And that story becomes your story. They don't want me there. What's it like to hear that?
Mm-hmm. I'm trying to receive it. And I've tried to what I'm trying to express exactly how it's happened. For years, I tried to overlook the treatment and thought maybe I'm just imagining what is truly happening. But when I was actually told that we just want to have our intimate family this year, I couldn't.
Yeah. You couldn't
get into anything other than what it was vocalized to me.
And
we don't want to include it.
And so that is their truth. You said that you would try to overlook it. I'm not asking you to overlook it. It's there. I'm asking you to look right at it, acknowledge that it's there, accept the reality of it, and choose how you want to move forward. You don't have to continue to move forward in sorrow, burdened with their choices. But if you don't think of anything else to do, that's just where your brain is. And so, finding a way to try something different this year, this isn't about them anymore. This is about you. What can you do? Because we can't fix what happened in the family. And if they don't want relationship with you, you can't force that. But you aren't required to force yourself to stay in this lonely place as though because your biological siblings aren't bringing you in, then you don't deserve for anybody to bring you in. One of my favorite things about how God works with relationships is he brings us, our family is our family and we don't get to choose, but he brings us opportunities and assignments in which we get to meet people and choose new family. I have two sisters. One is my biological sister and the other is a sister I met in college. And God allowed us to become sisters and do life and raise our families together. And I would be saddened to think that she would feel unwanted at anything my family ever did. And I know that there are some times where she may have, but I've always wanted her there. And so I wonder if that's true for your friend, but since you're telling yourself a different story, that's not what you get to experience.
Ron,
It probably is because of my upbringing. My parents taught me as a single woman that you're not supposed to be around married women because it's improper.
Well, let me help you with that.
Okay.
You are around married women when you go to church, when you go to the grocery store, when you go to work. That idea is outdated and antiquated, and it is not helpful to you.
And not biblical.
It is not biblical. It is coming from a place of fear. The fear that the single woman is going to draw the married women into acting like the single women, which I find disrespectful as a married woman. I'm quite capable of hanging out with my single friends and not trying to get men's phone numbers. And so it's actually ridiculous. And so please let that go. And be friends with your just because your girlfriend has a husband doesn't mean that there isn't ways in which you guys can enjoy time together and you can enjoy time with that family.
Okay.
Ron, there are people in my family that don't like me and don't want to spend the holidays with me, and that stings. And my attempts to find out, what did I do wrong? Is there something we can change? They haven't resulted in much. And so it's my ongoing work to accept I am disliked by some people and I have limited power to change that. So then I've built up my cheerleading squad. And that is the people that do love me, even though I'm annoying and have all my imperfections. And they're the people I go to say, I'm feeling like a screw up today. We all tell me, how do you love me? Why do you love me? What good is there in me? And my cheerleaders boost me up and encourage me. And that helps to counteract the pain that there will always be some people that reject me. You need a cheerleading squad. And there are already good people, that one friend in particular, who probably want to be your cheerleading squad. Now your work is to let them and even ask them. And EMDR, eye movement desensitization and reprocessing, can really help rework those old beliefs that are so cemented in your brain to update them to healthier biblical beliefs.
Ron, thanks for calling in today to New Life Live. Give me an R.
R.
Give me an O.
O.
Give me an N.
N.
We're your cheerleading squad right now, Ron. Thank you so much for calling in today to New Life Live. We're going to send you a copy of Take Your Life Back. Thank you so much for calling in. We know that people listening and watching right now are going to be praying for you, putting their arms around you, and it was good that you called because there's so many people going through the same thing. So by you calling in, you helped so many other people. We're going to talk a little bit more about this when we come back here on New Life Live.
Hello, everybody. It's Becky Brown, and I'm coming to you with an urgent need. There are many people that are in difficult relationships, difficult places in their lives.
How do I navigate through that and not to hurt my son?
We had some generous friends of New Life that started a matching gift, and every gift will be doubled up to $475,000. The matching window closes December 31st, so don't wait. Every moment matters in recovery, healing, and restoration.
I do a lot of work in my local church, and so just being able to hear y'all work through some of these situations really helps me to have some insight on how to help others.
Make your gift today by going to newlife.com, click on Donate, or text the word MATCH to 28950. You can also call us, 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Together, we will bring hope and help to so many more people. And I want to say thank you in advance. Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE, or you can text the word MATCH to 28950.
Do you need help for life's hard situations?
My husband recently said he wanted a divorce.
I'm confused on what I should do.
I have an eating disorder.
New Life Live answers your questions on relationships, grief, addiction, trauma, anxiety, and much more, all from a biblical perspective with our panel of professional counselors and psychologists.
I learned a lot from your program. You help so many people.
I appreciate your ministry.
Whether you listen or watch, there are so many ways to connect with us to ask our panel of counselors a question. Call us Monday through Wednesday at 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific at 1-800-229-3000 to ask your question on New Life Live. Or go to newlife.com/radio for other ways to get your question answered.
I'm trying to find help.
I just want to know how to set boundaries.
If it's a sin, what am I supposed to do?
Need a therapist or a coach, a resource, or an intensive? Call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433. 1-800-NEW-LIFE. To find out more information about New Life or to order any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Now back to New Life Live.
The words "'tis the season" can elicit feelings of glee in some, but not so much in others. For many reasons, the holidays can be especially difficult for those in recovery. And we want to support you in your recovery journey, so we have a few things to help. First is a free tip sheet called 5 Tips. Here it is. 5 tips for working your recovery during the holidays. And we'll send it your way when you call 1-800-NEW-LIFE and ask for it. We've also got a Life Recovery Today episode on this topic. You can find it on our YouTube channel under the Life Recovery Today playlist. Just search for the name of our guest, Corey Busk, and you'll see it. And if you're looking to connect with the New Life Recovery group, visit newlife.com for all the information on groups and to find many other life recovery resources. This is New Life Live. I'm Brian Perez. We were talking to Ron just before the break, and I wanted to bring up the Bible verse that talks about this. It's in Psalm 68, verses 5 and 6. Father to the fatherless, defender of widows, this is God, whose dwelling is holy. God places the lonely in families. He sets the prisoners free and gives them joy. So what I wanted to bring up about that passage is sometimes people will read that, God places the lonely in families. Some people accept that. They just like, oh, that's so beautiful. That's awesome. Other people say, yeah, but I want my family. Why? I mean, why? He's okay. Thank you, God, for placing me in another family. But why can't it just be my group? Like in Ron's case, why can't it be with my siblings? Or, you know, what would you guys say?
I think that's a good point, Ryan, that question then comes up, why can't I be with my family? Mm-hmm. And it goes to that idea of the belief that it only matters if it's your real family. And there are a lot of people whose real family is dangerous for them, harmful to them, or they don't have anybody. They're all that's left in their real family. And so then that would mean that people were just expected to be left alone, if that's what that scripture was referring to. But I love the idea that God will place you in families. This family, the New Life family, the family at HIU, the family at your church, or your best friend, or right? God will connect you with others because we were created for relationship, and it's not good for man to be alone. We're not locked into whatever one option we can come up with, right? Mm-hmm. So.
Yeah. And choosing to accept and grieve what's out of our control is what helps us to metabolize that pain over time. But it's a chronic accepting and having to grieve sometimes for years about what did not work out for us. But God gave our family members free will, and so they don't have to choose us as much as it hurts our heart.
Yeah. We've got lots of resources in the newlife.com store. One that comes to mind is the Life Recovery Workbook for Grief. It's available there in the store. But that brings up another topic of conversation. When it comes to grief, and we've talked about this before because it comes up often, people think of grief as something like when you lose a family member, mm-hmm. right? So how do you grieve something that you hope comes back? Like if a family member dies, you go to the funeral, you see them, being put under the ground, and you're like, they're not coming back. Yeah. I get that. And so you can grieve that. But when it's family, like in Ron's case, how do you grieve something that you hope comes back to life?
Well, I think like Dr. Ellis said, it's the accepting that this is the reality. And what we're grieving is what's real right now. Mm-hmm. God can do anything and can change anything. But what has happened up to this point, I'm in pain about. I have to grieve, and so that I can release it. If I don't release it, now I stay stuck, and I might not be available when they want to come back because I'm still stuck over here in pain and grief. But if I can release it and recognize, as Alice said, they have free will. They get to choose just like I get to choose. I don't want to be forced to be around people who make me uncomfortable, and I'm not going to force other people to be around me if they're not content to be around me. But that makes me sad, and I got to sit in that sadness a little bit. And I think that that's the work of grief, being able to bring it up, feel the feelings, acknowledge what it is and why it is and what your hopes were for it, and then release it and do it every time it comes up.
Yeah.
Perpetual grief is exhausting. So good self-care is important. Having good counsel is important. Sleeping well, eating well, staying hydrated. Take care of your body in all the other ways while you're going through it, because grief work is exhausting.
It's never a waste of time to clean up your own side of the street. And so all of my characteristics that might turn off people in my family, I can choose to work on them if I want to be different, if I want to be better, and if I agree with their opinion. There are some things I'm not willing to change and they just won't like it about me. So cleaning up your side of the street prepares you for the possibility of reconciliation down the road and being a stronger, better version of yourself, if that is to take place. But I also think it's a matter of being cautious about wishing versus hoping, because wishing is when we, based on no evidence at all, are waiting and expecting for something that is highly unlikely to take place. So if I have an abuser in my life who's not getting help, hasn't stopped drinking, and I keep thinking he might come back any day and be better, that's wishful thinking. There's no good evidence for me to think that. But I can still pray, and I can do my work in Al-Anon to be prepared and to be strong if there is a miracle and he does show up.
So how long does the grief process take? We know that everybody grieves differently, right? But some people, it seems like they get over things a lot sooner than others. But and for others, it might have been a decade since they lost someone, either through death or through family separation or something. But then something, especially during the holidays, a song or something might trigger something, and all of a sudden they feel like, I'm back at square one.
I would say there's no rule of thumb for the length of time grief takes, but it almost always takes longer than we want and than we expect. And so long that it's hard to be patient with the process of grief. Outsiders will often pressure us. Oh, aren't you over that yet? It's been so long. And we can put that pressure on ourselves. Why am I still grieving when it's been months or it's been years? But each body, each soul needs to take the amount of time it needs to take.
Yeah.
And every time a reminder comes up, it's another opportunity to grieve. And I think grief is the flip side of love. And so if you've loved someone a very long time and very deeply, you're going to grieve for a long time. And I agree with Alice. There is no right or wrong way to do it and no right or wrong length of time. But when people try to push you and they want you to be done, that's more about them and their discomfort. They don't like where you are. That's not helpful to you. And so I just always say, whenever someone is saying, aren't you over that by now? Or you should be over that. That should be over by now. Or whether they're saying it about themselves or someone else, I want to know why. Why should I be over that by now? Help me to understand why you think I should.
Yeah.
Yep. And let them think about that statement. And really, because it makes me uncomfortable to see you like this. But that's not a reason for you to stop doing your work. You keep doing the work you need to do as long as you need to do it and every time you need to do it.
I was having a good cry not too long ago, and my children and husband, out of care for me, were comforting me and telling me, no, it's okay. Come on, stop crying. Here are the tissues. And I told them, let me have this cry. Let this run its course. This is better for me than comforting me too quickly. Yeah. And it's a truth that's hard to hold on to because grief is messy and it can be ugly and it can be really wet. And yet it's God's process of helping us to release those stress toxins and honor what we love that has been lost.
Yeah. And sometimes we don't realize we're being dismissive when we do that. When we, you're okay, you're fine. I had a boss once that got that feedback, and she was like, I'm not dismissive. I'm like, yeah, well, you do like to tell us that we're fine. It's fine, you're okay.
Yeah. Great episode today of New Life Live. Thank you all for listening and watching and for calling in, too. We will be back with you tomorrow. And if you missed any of today's episode or want to hear it again, go to newlife.com. God bless you guys.
Thanks for listening. We hope this program has helped you by giving you insights for handling the challenges you face in your life. We want you to know that we're here for you, but you also need to know that New Life Live is a listener-supported ministry. To make your donation or to get any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433 or online at newlife.com. Please join us again tomorrow for New Life Live.